Do you want to introduce yourself and sort of tell us a little bit about you, so we know what your salon is, and just so we can get a bit of background on you?
Yeah, so my name's Emma Bedford. So like Joe said previously, I've been working with Yellow for a little time now. I do some education for them on the colour side of it, and I also use Yellow in my salon as well. So I'm like many of the other Yellow users that we have in the group. I'm self-employed. I work on my own. I work in a salon, rent a chair base, but I'm the only ladies hairdresser there. I've just took on an assistant, so we are hoping to grow over the next few years. But I'm just the same as all of you. You know, it's nice to have that support network, and that's one of the main reasons why I've really enjoyed using Yellow, because we've got, how many people have got on the group now? 900?
901. I looked this morning.
Wow. So 901 other freelancers who are more than happy to share their education with you as well. So
It's a really
perfect.
nice group. It's we've got all sorts on there. We've got, like you said, freelancers, we've got big salons, and I think for the freelance community especially, it's nice to have that place and bounce off one another, isn't it? But I just love how it's a real sharing kind of network. If you're not part of the Yellow Facebook group, head along. It's called Yellow Professional UK, and you asked us a couple of questions to join, but there's loads of resources on there as well. So resources like we're going to be talking about today, because when we started discussing managing clients' expectations, Emma and I was like, okay, we've got something missing here. We need to, how can we bring this to life? So we've put together something new for you, which we'll be revealing today. And I think this will be a really good tool for the salons and for like you assistants and just getting you into the routine. I think I'm teasing you by not telling you what it is yet, but we will in a second. So why did you discuss this course? I know you've just sort of said that you from looking at the Facebook group, but why is this so important to you, Emma?
So I think I was really lucky with my training when I started my career. I worked in a lovely salon. We went, you know, I started at the bottom, I was an assistant and worked my way up to a stylist. And consultations was something that was, I don't want to say drilled into me, but it was. It's a massive part of it. Yes, we're hairdressers and we're there to cut, style, colour hair, but the consultation, the communication is the main key feature of it. And I think as well, you know, not everybody was as lucky as that. You know, we have people, freelancers now, that are coming straight out of college. They've never worked in a salon, which doesn't mean they can't, you know, be amazing at what they do. It just means they maybe just need a few pointers and that little bit of extra help, and that's what we're here for.
I just think we can get a little bit lazy, and we can just sort of just forget. So
Yeah,
and I
and
think
your regular clients, you know, Mrs. Smith comes in, and Mrs. Smith's used a lot, but Mrs. Smith comes in and you've mixed up her colour that she's had for the last 3 years. And actually, you'd be surprised if you do actually speak to Mrs. Smith and say, you know, you're happy, you like it, you know, and give her the opportunity. You know, 9 times out of 10, sometimes people do want to change. And that's why you lose clients as well. I think, especially with the lockdown, people have had the opportunity to go elsewhere. And, you know, I'll be honest, I've lost 2 or 3 clients. No bad feelings. I've had a few message me saying so and so's cheaper, or my cousin's doing it, or etc. It's life, and I don't like to ever burn bridges. That's fine. But also, if you're losing a client just because you haven't offered them a different service or asked them if they wanted to change anything,
that's
that's
different.
silly. Yeah.
We always used to say, you know, you see one of your clients that you thought was one of your clients walking past the salon window with a new hairdo, and you're like, I can't believe she's gone somewhere else. But someone's listened to her and somebody's asked her some questions, and that's why you've lost her. So yeah, when during this lockdown, this second lockdown, we've had some really good education on. I've really enjoyed, I can't say I've really enjoyed that, that's wrong, I don't mean that at all. What I mean is I've really enjoyed the education that we've had, and I've, you know, had lots of guest artists on here, and we've been talking, and it's really kind of like made me think about what we do as an industry and how important we are, and just little things that we can do and we can change. Amy's session last week, Amy was talking about she's been doing mood boards and putting them up on her Instagram and talking about new palettes, and that's kind of getting her clients excited. And Vicky was talking the week before about more technical stuff and understanding your clients' hair needs and the undertones that we've had some really interesting stuff on. So that's why I think we've got Lenny that's on on Wednesday, and again that's something else that we can sort of it's got a nice rounded approach to it. So let's get down to business.
Okay.
The question is, do you feel that you've had a shift in your clients' expectations recently?
Yeah, massively. I think this year with the lockdown has only enhanced that, to be honest. So I've been hairdressing 15 years, and when I first started hairdressing, like most of us, Instagram wasn't a thing, Facebook wasn't a thing, social media wasn't a thing. We had the magazines in the shop and they would kind of flick through. Now everything is just so accessible, that's the word. Clients, and even clients that you wouldn't assume would come in and ask for something that, let's be frank, you look at it as a hairdresser and think, it's been filtered 3 times. She's been sat there for 3.5 weeks, and yet you want me to do this in 3 hours because you've got the school run. We've all been there. And I think it's being honest with your clients and being realistic. We're not magicians. And actually the times I've said that to clients, I'm very lucky. I've got a lovely, loyal client base. But I think one of the biggest reasons for that as well is because I am honest. I tell the truth. If they ask for something and A, I don't think it will suit, or B, it's not achievable, then I just say it. If they go elsewhere, they go elsewhere. Because at the end of the day, I'm the professional. I know what it's going to take, cost, time, etc.
We've had it before when you've kind of lost a client because of that very reason, because you didn't do what they wanted you to do. And I've been there plenty of times as well, and I've done something where I kind of I feel as I'm doing it, I'm thinking this is not the right decision, this is not what I should be doing, and I always know that the colour's not going to be what she wants it to be, and you end up feeling pressured by your client.
As well though, I love my job, but I end up going home on a Friday evening drinking a glass of wine and just thinking about so-and-so's hair I did on Wednesday, because I know it wasn't the right thing to do. And actually I think the older I get, the more years I do hairdressing, and I think that's not what I want my job to be. Not at all. There's always going to be a hairdresser down the road that's cheaper. There's always going to be a hairdresser down the road that will do it for them and promise them the world. But I can guarantee they'll be back.
Yeah, I agree. Debbie's just said under promise and over deliver. Totally agree with you. Totally agree. So, do you want me to share the screen? Closer, and I can we've put together a few slides for you. Hold on, bear with me, I'm just going to have to pop out of this and open it up. Oh, is that your cat then?
Yeah, she was making a little pounce for the camera.
Okay, right, we get to page 1, and then hopefully I can share my screen. Yes. Okay, here we go. Okay, so hair journey. So this is something that I'm sure we all do, but I thought it'd be quite interesting because Emma's put together some really good ideas, and we've put together a hair journey for you guys. It's a card and which we're going to have printed up, so you're able to get some of these as well. But I think it will be a really nice tool to be able to approach everything that Emma's going to talk about. On the back of the card, we're going to have different visits. So you're able to put that in and read and talk about the journey, where you are so far, and how, whether you're achieving your goal or whether things have changed, etc. So over to you, Emma.
Okay, so we've took this. If you've been with us a little while, then we have model cards as well, which we do on the training days. But actually, we've started using them in the salon as well. I find they're really useful to attach to your client's record card. Yeah, sorry, I'm a little bit old school still. I've got record cards. So this one, we've adapted it slightly for the hair journey. So I'd say a lot of clients now come in and, you know, they want to go lighter. It's not specifically for lighter. It could be that, you know, you're going darker as well. It's going to take some time. But this, I don't know if you, can you see my screen? No.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Amazing. So I've literally just filled it out a little bit. So I'll just go through it. So on here, I think not only does this make you look like you know what you're talking about, obviously we do know that what we're talking about, but it's nice for the client to actually see it as well. So we've got on here current colour. So I would take a look at their natural, obviously what they have on the mid-lengths and ends as well. Going back to Vicky's class last week in regards to looking at the undercolours, undertones in there as well. Really important, so you know exactly what you need them to be neutralising. Target colour, so what your client wants. So on here I've put 10 plus, so obviously wanting to be platinum. Approximate visits to achieve. So I think this again is a really important point. And be honest, you know, the next slide we've got some pictures of a client that I think it took me around maybe 18 months or just over to achieve the colour she wanted. So, you know, I've put here 4 to 5 sessions. But honestly, until you've done your first session, you probably won't 100% know. Once you've lifted it that first time, you can see what undertones are in there, how much colour exactly they have on the ends, box colour, etc. So their frequency of visiting the salon. So this all goes back to your main consultation as well. So, you know, are they happy if they're going to be having a full head bleach application? They need to be coming in 6 weeks max. Are they happy to do that? Can they afford to do that? Do they even want to do that? Had they even thought about that? Home treatments. So whenever I'm doing a client that we are lifting, and obviously we're lifting quite a few shades, and our end game is to be blonde, you want to look at what they're taking home. So it's something that I actually put into the price of the consultation, not the consultation, of the service as well. They need to be taking home a shampoo and conditioner and a treatment. There's no point doing this and you doing all this beautiful hair and toning if the hair won't accept it, which is why we need the home treatments. Again, so we've just popped on there protein, moisture, so whichever you decide. In salon Bond Hero treatment. So Bond Hero, if you haven't used it, is our Plex. So Bond Hero would be used throughout the whole service anyway, but I do also like my clients to come in at least twice or every other week between appointments to keep the hair in top condition as well. Again, it all seems quite scary when you start to put this all out to the client, but this is what it takes to achieve and still have your hair long and on your head. Because let's face it, they don't want to be short and blonde, do they? They always want hair down their back and to be blonde. So you're just honest.
For me, this part of it is, like you said, when your consultation, I can sit there as a client and go, yeah. So I want to be, you know, I want to have a scalp bleach. I want to be as blonde as I possibly can. I know I've got super fine hair. Yeah, I know all of that. Yes, I just want it. And I think once you start writing this down and you sort of say, you are going to have a Plex treatment in between. You are going to have to use these products. You know, and if you don't, you're not going to get to where your goal is. I think, you know, do you find some people actually say, do you know what? No, I'm not going to go as far as I thought I was after going.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, I've had a few clients. I mean, I had one when we were back in the salon before. She was a young girl. She was 17. I think she was still at college. So I think it was a godmum was treating her for her birthday or Christmas. I can't remember what it was. And she wanted to be like blonde, as they do at 17. And I said, you know, that's fine. So we had a good conversation about it. And I said, and I can do this. You know, her hair was in good condition, etc. I said, but are you going to be back in this salon every 6 to 8 weeks to have, you know, your highlights kept? And I told her the prices. And she did look at me a little bit gone out, and her mum was with her as well. And I was like, I'm just being honest. I'm like, I can do this for you. And you've said before that you've been to salons and they've said they can make you silver. Silver is the bane of my life. It's very rare to be able to achieve silver and keep it longer than a week.
I'm so over silver. It's all about me now.
Yeah, I'm all for the minky, but the 17-year-old still wanting this silver. And I was honest. I said, I can do that. I said, but you need to be back in here every 2 weeks having a silver toner. I said, have you got a job? And I know it sounds like really rude when you put it, but her mum laughed and she was like, no, it's me who pays for her hair. I went, so why don't we look at doing something a little bit more softer? We could do a soft balayage. You can still have the really bright parts in, blonde in, but there's no point me going ahead with what you want. I think her original request was a scalp application, which actually, do you know, honestly, as a professional, would I be right in doing that when I know for a fact
that she's never going to come back? Well, she's going to be coming back in 6 months' time and spending the majority of her time looking pretty awful.
Yeah, you know what? I think, yeah, great. She'll come back to me and I'll charge her all this money to do it again. What is the point when actually she probably appreciates the fact that I've been a little bit more honest with her? And actually, I felt like I'd educated her. She took products home, which I was very proud of, which she bought out of her own money, apparently. But she took shampoo, conditioner, and a blonde treatment home. And I thought, great, I've done my job. She's 17. Hopefully this will stay with her, as she gets older.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's really interesting. And then the test results. I don't think clients, sometimes we do the test results and we kind of go, oh, I'm going to do a strand test on you. But what does that actually mean for your client? I think the translation sometimes as professionals, we don't kind of like pass on that knowledge to our client. So I think having this on the card as well really will help. Do you agree?
Yeah, I really like it. I mean, obviously this is a new card that we've got, the hair journey, but I was speaking to Joe in the week and I'm going to do this for all of my clients when we go back, even if they're not on a journey as such. I think it's really good to have it in writing. I'll have their skin test, which is really important. Strand test, so obviously if they need a strand test, I'm going to be taking a slice of the hair, lifting it up, showing them that as well. It's not a secret what their hair's lifted up to, showing it them, explaining why there are orange tones or perhaps red tones and what we can do to correct that. And the porosity and
Elasticity. It's Monday morning. Elasticity.
I've not had enough coffee. And I'm going to pin this to all of my record cards. I love it. I think it's an amazing thing. They can see exactly what they've had then, where we're going. Everything's transparent. I think for so long with hairdressing, it's like, you've asked for a price list or you're asking for prices. Clients don't want to ask for a price. I don't want to ask for a price when I go somewhere. I'll be honest. I want it there in black and white. My price list is pinned to the top of my Insta page and my Facebook page, and I've got price lists by the door of the salon. People don't want to ask. They're embarrassed. It's not my place to say whether they can or can't afford it just by looking at them. So here's my price list. It's transparent. That way there's no awkwardness either. And I think that's really important. Let's just be honest. This is our job. We're the professionals. We've trained hard for it. We use fantastic products. If they want to pay that price, that's fine. If not, like I said, there's always going to be someone a little bit cheaper down the road, which they may not be as experienced as you, but that's how we all get to the point where we are.
So speaking of sort of our whole course is today, excuse me, is on managing clients' expectations. So once we've done the porosity and the elasticity assessment, is obviously to show them and to talk about what you can do. So I've got a blonde face frame at the front and I'm obsessed because my hair is fine that it's going to break off and I'm going to have a micro fringe. So I'm constantly sort of putting treatments on it and having a plex in between and stuff. So how would you talk about this with your client? What does porosity and elasticity, I wouldn't say equalizer spray then, elasticity mean to your client? How would you talk to them about that?
So I think we want to keep it really simple. You don't want to bombard them with the words that we'd use. Probably with the porosity and elasticity assessment, I really can't say that word today. I wouldn't even, I would generally not mention it. I would just say, I'd go over it and say, so the condition of your hair, the feel of your hair. So, is it slightly drier? Is it greasier? Maybe with the elasticity, I'm not going to say it again.
Elasticity.
Yeah. maybe you could do this, you know, the test that we do when we were all, you know, taught in college, etc. But I think it's just basically getting them results and transferring that over. So sit with them face to face. I like to do consultations face to face. I really hate doing a consultation behind them in the mirror.
Okay.
I think it's a bit more personal face to face. I know we have social distancing now, but we can still sit a metre apart. I just think it's nice. I find sometimes with the clients, they don't know whether to look in the mirror at you or lift up at you. So sit on a level with them. And like I said, just be honest. So we've done the results of your hair. This is what's come up. It might be orange, red, etc. This is achievable. The hair's still in good condition. We can do this, but these are the steps we need to take. So, you know, whether that's Plex treatments before you carry on doing any other colour service, whether you do your colour service and your Plex treatments in there, and obviously take home products. But the main things for the clients, what they want to know is A, your price, and B, what they're going to walk out with. So again, I think like Debbie said earlier,
sorry, my phone was ringing at the same time.
So promise and over deliver basically. So say, you know, where you think you could get to, but don't ever say they're going to walk out with something when you know full well they're not. It's not worth it. It's not worth the stress.
Okay, perfect. All right, so before we move on, one of the things that I do like is I don't know if you've ever done it, where you get a glass of water and you put a hair in it, and if it sinks, it's porous, and if it floats on the top, it's not porous.
It's like witchcraft.
It is. It's just thinking about clients, you know, understanding something. I think that's the right way around. I need to Google that when I come off. But it's definitely one's like if it sinks down. So we've had a couple of questions. One someone said that couldn't see us, but that's okay because we'll sort of like flip backwards and forwards. And Debbie says, you know, it's quite shocking when they don't come back for weeks and months in between, because that's the advert of you as a hairdresser in your salon. So absolutely, yeah. Okay, right. Shall if you do have any questions or anything, just pop them into the chat box or into the Q&A. Also, I'm going to share the screen again because Emma's put together one of her clients' journeys, which I think is really interesting. So let me move on to this next one. Bear with me. Oops, pick two. Okay, over to you, Emma.
Okay, so I like to document, or I mean, some of the pictures aren't amazing in regards to getting a good snap for Instagram, but I do like to keep all these photos on my phone. For me as well, I really enjoy watching a hair journey, and I think actually the client does as well. So we've obviously started April 2019, so this is going right from then right up until now, which is the lilac one on the end. But you can see the stages that we've had to go through. So we've gone from, she was really good, this client, to be honest. She wasn't, because she wanted to keep her length as well, we didn't want to keep going at the hair, so we went anywhere between 8 to 16 weeks in between, which, yeah, it can be a bit of a problem when you're going up to 16 weeks. But if she wanted to do it faster, she could have done. We'd discussed how it was going to be, money. She was really good and came in and had Plex treatments in between, took products home, and her hair's amazing. So you'll see we went from April to July. The second lift's always the worst. So the first one's not too bad. I haven't got a beginning picture, but she was probably about a 6 naturally, and she had some pre-lightener on the ends. I think it was an old balayage. Anyway, so we started with the foils. Her aim was to be a platinum scalp application by the end of it. So the second one's always hideous, I'll be honest. It's yellow. It's just, there's no getting away from it. They kind of have to be that colour for a little while. But then we move on to September. We've started to get a little bit more ashy, silvery. Again, I think we did a bit of a root drop in this one as well, just to kind of keep it a little bit different and a bit fresh as well. It can be quite boring, I think would be the word for the client when you're trying to lift when she's got an end game. This one was obviously delightful after the lockdown. she'd done numerous different colours on.
Emma, when you sent me this picture through, I was mortified for you. I was like, no.
She was one of my first ones, because you'll see there's a massive drop between. So September 19th, I think she was meant to come in at Christmas but couldn't get in. And then she was literally booked just before the lockdown. And then she walked in with this, and I just looked at her. I was like, oh my God. I was like, it's so orange. It's so orange. But actually, it was amazing. So this was all yellow products actually as well. But she decided at this point that she's got loads of hair, that she didn't want to have foils anymore. We were just going to do it. And I was like, right, come on then, let's do this. So it was a good 5 hours work, that was. But it lifted up beautiful. I mean, even I was amazed.
What's impressed me the most about this, and the journey that you're talking about, sort of like with the home care and everything, is that she's actually got sides, and she's got like her layers have come down. She's not,
you can see
the hair at all. I'm so
yeah, they were so short. I think her mum used to be a hairdresser, so every now and again her mum would hack at her hair. The layers were not great. So yeah, you can see on the first picture they were really quite short, and that was, again, we wanted to bring it down. And yeah, she's got sides. I mean, she's got sides. The condition is not compromised at all. And now on the last one, where we've got the lilac, underneath that, it's beautiful. It's just like platinum blonde. So she can have what she wants now, but because the condition's there, it's great promising them the world and them having all this. But if the condition's not there, it will not hold any of these colours. And I think that's really, really important to get across to clients. It's something I probably speak about, God knows how many times a day with every client. Yes, you can have this beautiful blonde, whether it's highlight, scalp application, but if it's not in good condition and you're going home and using Head and Shoulders, it's going to be out within a couple of washes. And I think you need the confidence with that, because when they ring you or text you, as they do now, and say, well, it's washed out and I've paid this amount of money, you need the confidence to stand and say, actually, I did tell you all of this. So you kind of, it's a guarantee for yourself as well.
I think that sometimes I see them, people talking on different groups, on all the forums and things, and saying that my client's colour doesn't seem to stick in the hair. And, you know, what colour, what formula would you use? What would you do? It's not about that. That's the point, and we have lots of discussions about this. It's not about what formula or what you actually put on the hair. It's about the condition. Nothing's going to stick. If the hair's that porous, we've lost the elasticity, it's just going to like bounce back out. So for me, when I was learning about this, and I went on chalk education science course a few weeks ago, which is brilliant. If you haven't done that before, big shout out to those girls. They do an amazing 3-hour science course, and they're saying is like porosity, and this is a good way of explaining it to your clients. It's just that the hair has got lots of holes in it, so every time we put some lightener on the hair or colour on the hair, you're making those holes a little bit bigger. So when you're trying to put more colour into those holes, when it's in bad condition, it's just going to come back out again. So with all the best will in the world, with the best formula and the best colours and everything, it's just not going to stick in the hair because of the hair's condition. So I think that sometimes managing clients' expectations is about, yes, you can have all of this. Yes, you can have the lilac, or you can have the minky or the silver or whatever you want. But it comes at a cost. It comes at not just the cost to have the colour done, but the treatments in between, and that's the managing expectations for me.
It's premium colour, blondies. It always has been. It always will be. And I do think as hairdressers as well, as professionals on that side of it, we need to explain, you know, the amount of clients I've had new clients since lockdown as well, who have come in and I've explained this situation to them, you know, with the products and, you know, the condition of the hair and etc., and not to use Tresemme or whatever at home. And, you know, the amount of clients that have turned around and said, oh, my other hairdresser never spoke to me about this. And actually, you know, that side of it can gain you a client, but also, isn't that just what we do? I can sit and talk to Joe all day long and say, oh, I've been using this new product or etc., and I wouldn't dream of putting Tresemme on my hair. I wouldn't. I'm sorry. I couldn't think. If I found it in my boyfriend's shower, I'd think I'd rather not wash my hair. but that's what we need to be passing over to our clients. They need that education. If we don't
not that I've got a boyfriend, I just want to put that out there. But I was in a hotel and I'd packed my bag and I'd got a little hydrate conditioner, but I'd obviously forgot to put the shampoo in, and then I was like, what do I do? What do I do? Do I use the shower gel shampoo slash
combo?
And I did. I co-washed. I did. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad, but I just thought I'd share that.
But yeah, I think that's a massive thing. If we can get that, and we laugh about it because it's funny. And I think once you've kind of educated them into thinking like that, they'll never go back. I don't ever have clients who buy products off me and then never buy them again. They always say they last longer, they smell better, they work better.
And if you want to have that blonde or whatever, that chocolate brown or whatever that is, I've now we're moving into winter. I've seen a couple of times where people are saying about reds and red fading. It's not the colour, it's the condition. We did have a question from Nelly, and I knew we were going to get this when I showed you that. They were saying about how do you get the lilac. I've got some my little colour thing here. If you go onto the Facebook group, there is all of the formulas on there. I don't think you can see it very well in this light, but there's lilacs and purples and everything on there. So if you go into the Facebook group, into files, you will find all of the bespoke colours that are on there. So we can share that. That's not a problem. Okay, should we do one more sharing? And this one's not as well. This one, the first bit is pretty. Here we go. That red, Emma. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, it was really neon. So this lady, what hurts me about this lady is we'd got a platinum once already from doing box colours, and then honestly I think it was to do with money. She messaged me, couldn't afford it, etc., and I was like, that's absolutely fine. And then she turns up with this red and wanted to go platinum again, and again, because we've got a good relationship, we're honest, like I think I cried a little bit in front of her, but we cracked on, we did it. So this was cherry red or something or other that she'd done at home. It just, I mean, obviously that there was leftover bleach on the ends, but it's weird colour, isn't it? It's neon. Anyway, so yeah, so we started the process. So it took some getting through. You can see on the first go, I mean, that was a good full head of foils, but it just went even more orange, so I had to tone down on that one.
So obviously you put a brown in between this. Did you do that with like tone on tone, did you? Or what did you do?
Yeah, so I didn't want obviously to be putting any more permanent on the hair. I knew it was only going to be making my life more difficult. And I think tone on tone anyway, it's softer. So yeah, I full head foiled it out, and then in between that, whilst that was developing, then I put the tone on tone in between.
Yeah.
Can't remember the exact colour, but I'm imagining it's probably an ash. Yeah, a lot of ash and maybe some 401 in there as well. So then we moved on. So the next one obviously started to get that bit light. It's really hard actually when you're going from red, because obviously there's a lot of orange and red pigments in there, to kind of, you kind of have to go backwards before you go forward a few times in regards to toning down. Yeah. I mean, the third one was actually quite light, but it was just patchy and still quite orange, so we had to tone her back down. I couldn't have let her walk out the salon. She wouldn't have been able to go to work. So then obviously we've got the fourth one.
That's a really nice colour. It's really beige. It's lovely. It's really nice.
Yeah, I really love beige and minky tones. I'm a bit of a beige girl. So when I got to that, I was quite happy. Obviously, my client wanted platinum. I was like, really? I was like, we like the beige. Anyway, and then again, carrying on, started to get it a little bit lighter again. And now I could start playing with my toners more because I had more choice. I didn't have to keep killing the orange or the red.
Yeah. And
then we had lockdown. Yeah, which broke my heart when she walked in with that, looking kind of like a helmet. And bless her, she actually wasn't very well. She had COVID, so she was poorly for quite a few months. So she was meant to be first back in my chair, one of the first, and she couldn't come in until September. So she had to wait, bless her. But then we got this beautiful colour in the end, which we're more than happy with now.
Gorgeous, really, really gorgeous. So, price then. So, when you've got somebody with a regrowth that's basically as long as my bob, how do you actually, how do you go about that?
So with my pricing, the first lockdown this year, I took an opportunity to really look at my pricing. Honestly, the place where I'm at the moment, I've been for 3 years, and I kind of never looked at my pricing. And I think if we were honest, we'd all put our hands up and maybe say we haven't. So I thought I did a course with Maddie Cook, who we have on later.
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. And it was the best £50 I'd ever spent. It took me a couple of days, went through all the slide screens, and she's got a calculator on there. So first of all, I worked out all of my services and exactly to the penny what it cost me. I was quite surprised actually. And then I worked out what I wanted to earn per hour. So personally for me, so I'm based in Leicester in the Midlands. I'm in a small village, quite an affluent village, I suppose. So I wanted to earn £35 per hour, so I needed to base my work on that plus my product costs. So what that means is for me, so if I do a full head of foils, including toner, plex, treatments, cut, finish, I charge £120 based on 3 hours work. So that's £35 an hour, which takes me to £105 and £15 in product costs. That is actually all it costs me to do a full head foils, toner and plex when it's worked out. But that's obviously, that's besides the point. They're paying for the fact I can do it in that time. They're paying for the fact I've trained. They're paying for that. Yeah, it's knowledge. And I think once you get your head around that, you really start to feel it. Actually, you do deserve that, and you do deserve your worth. So I base it on 3 hours. I like to work my appointments on an hour. So cut and blow dry an hour, full head of foils an hour. Everyone's different. I just don't like to feel like I'm rushing her on a production line. Now, obviously, that took longer than 3 hours, so it took me more, probably around 4, maybe 4.5. So what I do is I charge an extra £35 per hour on top. If I was using a hell of a lot more product, I would put my product cost on top. I don't always. It's, again, we all have our naughty bits that I think maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. But for maybe the £7 I might put on top, I think adding an extra £35 on for the hour's work is fine. I'm happy to do 4 hours at £155.
And you do that with, so you do the all-inclusive pricing where everything's included in the price, whether they're, so like you assume that they're going to have a plex, you assume they're going to have a toner, etc., etc. So you have like worst case scenario pricing.
Yeah. If it well, I say I assume. I'm not assuming that's what they're having. I got sick to the back teeth of it before lockdown of clients coming in and they needed a plex, they needed a toner, but they were opting out of it because they didn't want to pay. That's not okay, because again, it's not going to work. So I just thought, you know what, all-inclusive works for me. This is the price, this is the bottom line, it is what it is. Now, if it was colour correction, so if it's major colour correction, again, I start looking at my price. It's slightly different. I still run it off the 3 hours at 120 and up from there. If it's you know, if you're spending 8 hours in the salon and what products you're using, whether you've used 15 bowls of lightener, etc., 3 bowls of toner, you know you need to charge for that. But again, that's what a consultation's for as well. You know, that's when you can go across and say, well, this is my price list, but yours is more of a colour correction, so this is what we're going to do. But yeah, it's really important. You're worth it. You know, you haven't sat and done all this education and got to where you got to be charging £35 for a full head foils and cut and blow dry. I'd rather go.
It depends on your own individual circumstances. So that's just you talking about that. So you're taking into consideration your chair rent, your products, and everyone's got such different scales. You know, we could be got a freelancer in London, or we could be having somebody up in Scotland working at their garden like I do. So it really depends what your own circumstances are. So we've got Maddie Cook that's coming on. So if you haven't experienced that, please make sure you tune in at 1 o'clock. If you are watching this on a rewatch, if you register for Maddie Cook, you will get the the recording sent to you anyway. So it's just a really good one. I think this whole thing about managing clients' expectations is no longer just about, you know, is the hair achievable? It's sort of, yeah, everything, I suppose, unless you can get there at some point. But it's kind of like, how long does it take to get you to that end process? What's the home hair care regime? How often are you going to come back into the salon to get your plexes done? You know, all those kind of things that we've just been talking about. And at the end of it, it's about your pricing as well. You know, this is not, it's not a magic wand that we can just go and it's all going to be great. Great hair takes some work. And I think we've got to be honest, open in those consultations. Use your hair journey planner, and you know, use that to your advantage. Of, you know, that can elevate you as a hairstylist by sort of like, this is what I'm going to do, this is what we're going to note. I think it really brings another level to your service.
Yeah, I think as well, really, please don't be shy or embarrassed about asking these questions. You know, that is our job to do that. There's no point me doing your hair if I don't know anything about you. And also, when it's a new client, it breaks that ice for you as well. You get a good rapport going, you get that relationship with them. But it's not rude to be asking these questions. You know, if a plumber came to mind, was asking me questions about my sink, etc., I'm going to tell them. Same kind of thing. You know, we are professionals, and I think once we get our head around that and are confident with that, the work will just flow after that.
Yeah, I think there's that kind of misconception from my clients. You know, if I was going in to have eyelashes put on, I know that I have to go back every 2 weeks to get the infills done, and I know it's going to take me an hour and a half. I know it's going to cost me X amount of money. That's why I don't want to go for it, because it's, for me, it's about time. I cannot spend an hour and a half every 2 weeks getting my eyelashes done. I love them, but I can't do it. So I've made the choice of like, I don't do it anymore. I used to. So it's just that, as long as you know, as long as your clients are aware of what their expectations are and how long it's going to take, I think it's a choice, isn't it? And then it's up to them. And you can do other things. You can do like things like a little face frame, just soft bit around the front, so you feel a little bit brighter. You know, there's so many other stuff.
Yeah.
So many other stuff. So I just want to say thank you for today. It has been really good. I've enjoyed working with you on this and sort of like putting it together. It's made me think about things a little bit more. So that's good. I'm going to get the hair journey card put onto Facebook, onto the file, so you can print them off like what Emma's done, but we are going to get some printed as well. And if you are watching on a recording, you will get this in the PDF that we've also done today as well. That will be in there. So thank you very much. We're getting some love from that. So people saying thank you. It's been good, eye-opening. Thank you, ladies. So thanks very much, everybody. If I see you at 1 o'clock, hope to see you soon. Take care. Bye.